Welcome, the installment edition of Egg Foo What, the first and only podcast about people eating stuff. Is that
I
good?
don't know if it's the first podcast about people eating stuff.
The other version I thought might be the last podcast about people eating stuff.
Yeah. the first podcast of people talk, old dudes talk about food. This is us.
This is my co-host. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. I'm Xmas Time. Nice to meet you.
Oh, you're not going to use your real name?
All right. I'm Greg. I mean, for a second there, I fooled myself into thinking, you know what? I'm going to get a little fucking respect here.
Use your full name. You want to use your full name?
What, my bank account number 2? What are we doing here? What's happening here?
Well, you might have some stuff to sell down the line. You have you have a book up on Amazon. You're
got another one coming out in a couple of weeks.
You got another one. There you go. So
Always
use your last name.
Always selling, bro. Wilson, Greg Wilson. Okay, the mystery is fucking gone.
The mystery's over.
Jesus.
And I'm Mike Lisk.
Name.
Yeah, my name is Mike Lisk. Some of you may know me from the Best Show. I've resisted for a very long time doing a podcast, but Greg suggested a possible podcast that I couldn't resist when he tweeted about his go-to Chinese food, which was Egg Foo Young, which is like most people, I think, they have 2 or 3 items that they go to on the Chinese takeout menu, and they stick with that for a lifetime. I've tried different things, and I've grown from chicken and broccoli to Singapore rice noodle is now one of my
chicken and broccoli, even a quote unquote Chinese dish.
Well, they have the gravy is what brings it all together. Just like the sauce in Italian food, it sort of brings it together. You've got the gravy in Chinese food. So,
speaking of I'm only going to tell this joke. It's a bit racy, but it is in my first book, so it's already out into the world. So at least 4 people have seen it. I used to laugh at anytime you pop in Brooklyn and one of those little Chinese takeout places that are tiny and disgusting, but the food
those are the best places. What are you talking about?
The food's always great.
Yeah.
Anytime I was in line with a black person, I loved it.
Yeah.
All they do is order wings with ketchup.
Yeah.
I get 8 wings with ketchup, 12 wings with ketchup. And I always admired because they always had the balls to say, I want fresh wings. Don't give me these fucking wings lying around. I would never have the balls to say that.
Yeah.
I'd always think, wow. I say I'll take some wings. They fucking give me a fucking bone and throw it at me and tell me to get the hell out. But I love that. 8 wings and ketchup.
Well, that's his go-to order, which, to me, that's like barely, that's barely Chinese food to me.
It's not Chinese food.
It's not.
Neither ketchup nor chicken wings. But and the other great thing is the menu itself would always say 6 chicken wings, $2, 12 chicken wings, $4, 24 chicken wings, 8. It would spell out. And I'm like, well, we can all multiply. Because it's not like they would get, like you'd get a discount.
There was no discount as the quantity went up.
No 10 for $3. And it would just go sequentially.
The best sign, and I'll say this for Bayonne Chinese places, I've been to a few of them. They were the dingiest ones are definitely the best ones. And my regular one, the one I could walk to, my favorite sign in there, it had like some different items from the menu, or new items, crab rangoon.
New Chinese food items
was added to the menu.
Oh my God.
And then but at the bottom of the list
it's like going to a YouTube show and we want to play some songs from a new album. Nobody wants to hear it.
but at the bottom of the list was 100 garbage bags and a price for a 100 garbage bag. So, if you needed some garbage bags and just happened to be picking
It
up
was
your
little
Chinese
garbage bag.
food, it was it was a win-win, as they say,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always a head scratcher to me.
But you do have a go-to that you've been going to. That's your regular.
Yeah, the one I could walk to was about 2 blocks away.
Perfect.
And Golden City in Bayonne. If you're ever in Bayonne,
Golden City.
Golden City, yes.
Bayonne Chinese food, along with Pepsi.
Yeah,
Pepsi Cola.
and I got to know the people in there. It was a family running business, and I got to know some of the people there pretty well.
How long did you go there? How long you gone there?
Well, I bet I was there in Bayonne. I'm sort of in transition now, where I'm spending most.
When did you first go there? I guess.
Like in the mid '90s.
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Okay.
So many years.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna miss them. Yeah, they got to know me so well that the woman who would answer the phone would just hear my voice and know what I was ordering. Again, driving home the point that a lot of people stick to the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fell into that rut, and the point of this show is to get people out of that rut. Now, you did this with this tweet. You said you professed your love for Egg Foo Young.
That's right.
Which I was like, what? What is that? I don't even know what it is.
You uncultured rube.
So I go on the internet.
You Bayonne hick.
I go on the internet. I'm looking at photos of this. There's thousands of photos of Egg Foo Young. And the one that sort of stuck out to me, it looked like a giant meatball in a bowl of gravy. Now, I think we've discovered that it comes in different forms.
Yeah, some of the patties are flatter, some of them are thicker.
I mean, do some actually look like a giant meatball, like I saw in some photos?
No, well, when they're piled up, because usually come 3 patties.
Oh, okay, so that's the norm. All right. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, some of them, like I said, some of them are flatter than others. Like the one I was raving about when I started tweeting was like super thick and fluffy, actually, which is kind of rare. Usually, they're kind of in between. They're kind of thinner. That one was delightful. So if you stack them up and cover them with gravy, I can see that in some cases it can look like a big meatball. But that's if you've lived on this earth for decades without knowing what Egg Foo Young is.
Okay. Well,
again,
I was in that camp, and in fact, I didn't. I'm spend most of my time in Howell, New Jersey now. So there's a pretty good Chinese restaurant near me. So I took the chance, and I got their Egg Foo Young.
Nice.
Now, you said fluffy. Now,
which is rare. Like this particular one, it was a little fluffier than usual. So I'm not surprised if yours wasn't quote unquote fluffy.
No, in fact, mine were quite dense. Dense is how I would describe them.
Yeah.
This is a hearty meal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not for somebody who wants to nibble. and mine came in 3 dense patties.
Oh yeah.
And I went all out. I did go. You like pork?
Yeah.
And I went for the house special, which was like a buck more.
Yeah.
And you get the shrimp and the chicken with the pork. Yeah. And it was hearty. Now, you think the big selling point is Egg Foo Young is the brown gravy that comes with it.
Absolutely. 90% of any Egg Foo Young I've ever gotten, the patties are generally kind of the same within a range, but the gravy is what can make or break it. If you get the iconic brown, creamy, I almost call it puffy somehow, if that makes any sense, gravy, That is the best. That is I could just drink that. I never have.
Wow.
But sometimes they'll fuck you and they'll, some places, if you've never ordered, don't know, all of a sudden you show up and it's like some purple plum sauce, which is, I'm a writer by living, so I would describe it as disgusting. So if they do that, then I'm not saying you need to go burn the building down, but never order from them again, because they obviously don't know what Chinese food is.
Well,
so the gravy can make or break it easily.
Okay. Well, I got a very generous cup of brown gravy.
Yeah.
Now I want to describe it. What did you say? So you can drink it.
It's cream. If it's great, there's a creaminess, and I keep wanting to say puffy to it. Like there's a puffiness to it.
All right. Well, there was no puffiness to my cup of gravy. I mean, it was thick.
Yeah.
And brown gravy in Chinese food is just sort of a hard concept for me to grasp.
It doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I mean,
technically, when you say brown gravy, you think something you'd pour on like turkey or.
Yeah,
that's
my association. Turkey and mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
I think that's about all I use it on.
Great egg for young gravy is not like that. It's a lot thicker.
Thicker.
Yeah, a lot thicker.
You just called it puffy.
Well, what I'm saying is it's thick, and if it's so good, there's a lightness and puffiness to it.
All right.
I shouldn't brag that I'm a writer by trade if I can only describe egg for young gravy as puffy.
Yeah, my gravy I would describe as thick. It's so thick that I think it began congealing as I was eating.
That sounds right.
So I was I used the gravy very sparingly. Did not use a lot of gravy. I used it to get a sense of the experience.
Yeah.
But by 2 patties, I was full.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listless.
I can't do 3 patties anymore. That's a young man's game.
Yeah, I mean, it was dense.
Yeah.
You hear these jokes about, you're hungry after eating Chinese takeout. But
I've never heard that, Mike. That sounds racist.
Okay. But after this meal, you can barely move.
Yeah.
I did feel like I had a Thanksgiving. I called it Chinese Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: it was enjoyable. What I was thrown by, some of the pictures make it appear that the patties are they're crispy, which I thought would have been cool if it was sort of a crispy, like a hash brown or something.
Yeah.
Some
of them do. Some of them, the edges will get like a hash brown. That's always, even in my go-to back in Brooklyn, that part was always hit or miss. Like sometimes it was really crispy, sometimes it wasn't. So that I kind of see as like a little bonus.
Yeah, that would have been nicer. I mean, mine were they were spongy, which is sort of how you describe an omelet. Yeah. Which is how people describe egg foo young, as a Chinese omelet.
It's like a fried omelet.
Yes. Yeah. It's an omelet.
Exactly what it is. Yeah.
I suggested, why don't they call it Eastern omelet? You see, get it?
Eastern I get omelet.
It. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, a couple thousand years of Chinese tradition. I don't know if they're up for a reboot or for a brand.
But
rebranding
for Western consumers at diners in particular, if they see an Eastern omelet, they might go, wait a second, I've had the Western omelet. I can't go wrong with an Eastern omelet, can I?
I think they would think an Eastern omelet would be a Philly cheesesteak omelet. or dirty water dogs. But by all means, if you want us to call up China and suggest a rebranding.
Now, is the spelling is the spelling correct too? I've seen it, young as in a young man.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways without an O. Is that?
Yeah.
There's no consistency as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
we'll bring that up at the rebranding meeting. Look, guys, you had it. You had your time. You had your chance, and you blew it with the naming.
I mean, it could be just some idiot at the who's printing the menus who think it's a typo.
Yeah.
and it sucked. Sometimes typos stick.
Yeah.
Well,
One of the most famous typos is stuck. Let me. Do I have your permission to teach you a little rock and roll history?
I know there's a famous one, but I couldn't remember it.
Can I have your
refresh my memory?
Buddy Holly. The reason he changed his name from Holley to Hollly is because his first record, when it came back from the manufacturer plant, whatever, some kid had fucked up the name and misspelled it. So he just kept it.
Yeah, no, I think I have heard that story, and no, thanks for
spoiler alert. Then he died.
Well, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
I recently ran into.
I've never seen any real consistency with the name, but this is also a cuisine for which the restaurants often call their chicken tenders McNuggets. So maybe not a lot of proofreading going on the menu, and it doesn't have to be. You know what you want.
Now, here's the thing about chicken tenders and McNuggets.
Mm-hmm.
They are different items, mostly because of the shape. I mean, my local Chinese place did sell their version. They called them chicken nuggets. They didn't go for the full McNuggets, and they were good. I mean, I did buy them occasionally when I just wanted something simple and greasy. Again, I don't consider that Chinese food, and we're not going to pursue that.
No. But I will say, I will give credit to my go-to back in Brooklyn, Cam Singh. They did have great chicken nuggets, and yeah, there was nothing Chinese about them. They were well, I don't know where they got them, but they were fantastic.
Yeah, so. No, they can be a good item. So, if you're just in the mood for that, don't be ashamed. Don't
be ashamed.
You can get the regular American junk food items that are on there, and just try to keep it to a limit, though.
Keep it to a minimum. Another thing about Egg Foo Young is years ago there was this great PBS doc on sandwiches, like iconic sandwiches around the country. They did the cheese steak and the hot brown and Louisville, blah blah blah. And apparently in St. Louis, St. Paul, Minnesota, there's a Asian community, and they have these Egg Foo Young sandwiches. It's called the St. Paul. Have you heard of these?
No.
So you just go. It's an Egg Foo Young patty on white bread with a big beefsteak tomato, and mayonnaise. And lettuce. I can't remember if there's lettuce. And so I went out and I made one time.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. I mean,
why white bread though? Can't we improve on the bread?
I don't know. That's a good first instinct, young Mike.
Yeah.
But there's something about, like I think they even said they use Wonder Bread. There's something about the mushiness of it. And I'm someone who spent like 15 years trying to find like a nice rustic artisanal bread for my tuna fish sandwiches.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, what are you doing? It's fucking Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread's the best for tuna fish sandwiches.
Only if you toast it. Do you toast it?
No, I don't toast it. It just molds all together. It squishes together. And I was like, who do you think you are putting on airs with the fucking tuna sandwich bread? Just get the Wonder Bread. And I gave up that search to be Mr. Hoity-toity tuna fish sandwich bread. And I've been happy ever since. So, but
may I suggest, if you're feeling adventurous,
I am not.
The Pepperidge Farm sesame sandwich, sandwich rolls.
All right, I'll try that. I like a Pepperidge Farm. If all the fans want a link, I posted my step by step on Xmas time back when I did the St. Paul sandwich. So if there's enough public outcry, or when Pepsi comes into sponsorship, but I only made it once. I don't know why, because I really liked it, but maybe I'll do it again soon now that Egg Foo Young is on their minds.
So I'll say this. I think so I had an extra patty, which I had the next day.
Great.
I just zapped it in the microwave.
Perfect.
And you know what? I think I may have enjoyed that
patty
more than the first two.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Is that a thing that
Anytime-
happens? It needs to
Yeah.
sort of get the layover and then,
Yeah.
the microwave treatment?
A layover. Yeah, there is something even better about the next day. And there's something very microwavable about it. I don't know if it's because it's, mostly water, I guess, technically. But it does nuke perfectly the next day. So you're right. You're 1,000% right. It is usually even better the next day.
How about this? You got these fans of cold pizza. How about a cold egg
I've
foo
done that.
young?
I've done that.
You've
No
done it,
problem.
yeah?
No problem.
Which is preferable?
I don't prefer the cold.
No.
I'll do the cold. I'm happy, fine. But
Uh-huh.
it only takes 20 seconds to nuke it. So if I'm within 10 feet of a microwave, which I usually try to be, that's my policy. Yeah. But no, there's plenty of times I've had it cold. I don't recommend it. I like it fine, but especially for beginners, I'd have it warm.
Beginners, okay.
But you're right though. The next day nuked, it's even more perfect somehow. Yeah. I guess like spaghetti, because there's that gravy component to it. But yeah, I'll do cold egg foo young.
Should we establish a ranking system for this podcast?
Sure.
Should we go to the numbers, letters?
What are we ranking?
Well, the item of the week. In this case, egg foo young.
Okay.
I know it's going to be high. How would you rate it? What system do you prefer? Numbers, letters?
Numbers 1 through 10. Have
1
you
through 10.
ever
Okay,
seen
yeah.
Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews?
No.
Well, he's the Barstool
Yeah.
president. I don't like that website. I don't get into the, it's too broy for me.
Too broy?
Too broy.
Okay.
It's kind of disgusting if you peel
Yeah.
back how they, whatever, but
Yeah, bro culture.
bro culture.
I try to stay away from it.
Just like the third egg foo young patty, that is a young man's game. But I got totally addicted to his daily pizza reviews. He got this thing where he'd go get a regular slice. He started out in Manhattan, but now he's gone all over the country. And he'll 1 through 10. And it's just super addictive to just, it's just a minute and a half or so, and he'll try it. And I like to see the pizza. I've gotten so good, I can kind of guess what he's going to give it just by looking at it. DeFara's is still number one.
Where is that place?
The guy just died. You've heard of DeFara's, right?
I don't think is it in Lower Manhattan?
It's out in Brooklyn. It's like 45 minutes into Jamaica or something. I've never been, but it's always any list of the best pizza. It's always number one. And it's one of those things where the guy is 900 years old and every day he makes like 4 pizzas and
wow, okay.
One of those things. And it's still number one. But that's a 9.4. And his thing is you can't give something a 10 because what if something comes along and it is slightly better? So I'm gonna start at 9. I'll say 9.4 for egg foo young.
Okay, we're gonna do the pitchfork point thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
If we're really doing
I won't be doing that too often. I mean, to get that 0.4, I don't know what that means. I mean, 9 is sufficient for me as saying it's a very good dish. I'm gonna give egg foo young. I'm gonna give it a 6. I mean, it was okay. I'm not saying it was bad. And the leftovers was particularly good.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see that me really going back to that.
Really?
I think it's a one and done for me.
Wow.
Unless I'm with somebody who wants to split it, I think it's a one and done. I'm sorry.
The way you're talking, I thought it might make it into the rotation a little bit.
No, it's too heavy.
It is heavy.
That was sort of the kibosh.
Is most Chinese food heavy? I mean,
no, not really.
Like
we're I might as well announce what our next dish will be if people want to play along at some point. I was introduced when I was living in Queens. We had a very good Chinese food place within walking distance. And a roommate at the time suggested Singapore rice noodle, sometimes called Singapore My Fun. And this is sort of a thin noodle it's got all your ingredients, your extras. You got your shrimp, your chicken, and pork. You got vegetables in there. And it's sort of a lighter version of lo mein, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Lo mein is okay, but that's kind of a heavy Chinese dish as well.
Yeah.
So that one you'll be trying for the first time, Greg.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss that next time.
Yep. Now you said it comes with shrimp. Why does it default? Like usually you think it'd be like, it is what it is, and then you pick chicken, pork, or shrimp. But it seems to default to pork and shrimp, which is odd to me.
Well, it's I think it's what you call a luxury item. You know, it's sort of, this is the best way to have it. We're not going to spoil it by removing items. You know, I hear what you're saying. Usually that's what they do on the menu.
Yeah,
just they switch it out.
Yeah.
But this one, it's like it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy this, you know, for what it is with all the great items. You know, to remove items would be to
now I'm allergic to shrimp though.
Yeah. This is going to be a problem, I think, for this podcast.
Yeah. Now I'm willing to try anything except shrimp.
So we're going to have to knock off all the shrimp items.
Correct.
Wow. Now what happens?
I mean, I'll get it, but without the shrimp.
You break out in hives, or what happens if you eat a shrimp?
Yeah, I get breakout and.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm learning something. I've known you 20 some odd years. I think we're coming up almost on 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did not know you had this
you're a dick.
Shrimp allergy. Just shrimp or all seafood in general?
Any shellfish.
Wow. Okay. That's too bad.
Oh, you're a jerk. You never asked. You never care. It's all about you.
It's all about me.
I get it.
Yeah. I see where
but I know that's a bummer, but I do want to try.
I've got another item that I'll be naming after Singapore rice noodle. Do you have something after the egg foo young? Or are you just going to be experimenting flat from the get-go?
It's going to be mostly like I'll do I'll do lo mein or chow mein or whatever. Lo mein really. But,
chow mein is an interesting dish because it was once, I think, everybody's go-to many years ago.
Yeah. When I think of Chinese food in the 50s, when people got excited about it, I just think of chow mein for some reason.
Chow mein, and that was my introduction when my family had Chinese food. It was always chow mein.
Yeah,
it was my starter Chinese food.
Which according to food television programs I've seen over the years, is their version of or it started out as just whatever was left over they threw together.
Potluck.
Kind of like a potluck thing. I'm sure it's a lot more structured now, but it sounds like that was the origin of that. But yeah, I don't really have a number 2 per se. Because if they don't have egg foo young, I'll just go to another restaurant. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
So that's why I'm excited to try, some
different things.
So
okay.
I mean, what's the worst thing can happen? I, die because of it. Whatever. Who cares? But I don't really have a number 2. So.
Well, I see by the clock on the wall that things are wrapping up. We're going to try and keep these podcasts short.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
There's only so many podcasts people can listen to, and why drag it out?
Yeah,
and punish them with long podcasts.
But I am begging people. I'm using this platform to beg people. Like I've said, I am blah 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 years old. I've been eating egg foo young for 40 years. I literally, I've never eaten egg foo young with another person other than my older brother in my life. I've never seen anyone else order it. Anytime I've ever mentioned it to a friend, they always act like I'm talking Martian. And like I always say, other than Meathead on All in the Family, I've never seen anybody else say it. So I'm excited. Number one, I want to use this platform to preach about egg foo young. And I'm really excited to try new Chinese food, which I've always kind of been stubborn about over the years. So
Yeah, and I discovered a friend of mine also is an Egg Foo Young fan, which I didn't know. I've known him practically my entire life.
Coming out of the closet, people.
We
We are here, and we are people.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Matter.
even though I rated it a 6, don't be afraid to give it a try. It may be your thing.
Yeah, well, I know you, and I know me, and I have a feeling your grades are always going to be a little lower than mine. You're a little more of a hard mark.
I'm a critical guy. Yeah,
I respect that. So
I try
to. Young is just, and part of it's nostalgia. Part of it is that Proustian Madeline thing with me, where it's a bit of my childhood, and I have, my favorite Chinese restaurant from when I was a kid closed down a couple of years ago in Richmond, and I just had these romantic notions. So it was stuck in time. It looked, you'd walk into the 1950s whenever you go into it. The Flaming Volcano drinks a keg of it for $1. So it's part of it too. The Egg Foo Young thing for me, it's a bit Proustian. So you wouldn't understand that because you're a rube who doesn't read books. But I'll type it up and send it for
before this podcast gets Proustian. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody, and hope you listen in for the next installment.
Absolutely.
So this is Mike Lisk
and Greg Wilson. Thanks everybody for listening.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and Pepsi, the phone lines are open if you'd like to sponsor us. That is Pepsi. That is a cola.